Right, so we're in front of one of the entrances into Ryoanji. If you're walking from Kinkakuji, which is about a 20-25 minute walk, Ryoanji is very close. It'd be in the western direction. Inside Ryoanji, standing in front of the map of the overall compound, Ryoanji was actually an imperial villa that was taken over by Hosokawa Katsumoto in 1450. And he was what they referred to as a Shugo daimyo. So he was in the inner circle of the shogun at the time, the Ashikaga clan shogun. And apparently this compound itself was actually larger at the time. It expanded all the way down south to what's called the Randen train line. But now it's currently kind of taken on this kind of format, if you will. And so we're right here right now. And actually when you enter the first gate, you're immediately greeted by this huge kind of pond here. And it's a stroll type garden, which actually a lot of Japanese people are really taken with. I'm standing in front of the staircase that just goes up into the entrance of the rock garden. Actually, the rock garden, interestingly enough, is actually they don't know who actually built it. So because of that, there's kind of a unique rock configuration that we'll see when we go inside. But there's, it's been, the cause of controversy as to, was it intentionally created that way, or did it naturally come about? We'll see more when we go inside. We're in front of another entrance into the rock garden. This is apparently only reserved for royalty. For example, in 1975, Queen Elizabeth made a stop over here, and she entered through this gate. Kind of a few specific details about the gate. It's in what they call Karamon style, which basically means a Chinese style. And so what that basically means is there's kind of a gable-like form at the top of the gate that it is created in. And this type of architecture actually, you can see it in a number of other different temples and residences in Kyoto. For example, Nijo Castle. So once we enter the entrance of the rock garden itself, we're immediately greeted with a screen, as you can see here. And there are Chinese characters on the screen. I asked one day one of the staff here what it meant, and she pointed down to this little board here. And even though it's in Chinese and in little Japanese, she didn't understand what it meant. So, it was kind of a pause for laughter, and then all of a sudden she told me, well, basically it was set up by the head abbot to create more of a welcome feeling, a warm feeling for people when they immediately come in. So I'm on the veranda of the abbot's chambers, and we're just looking at the rock garden here. So basically it's a dry landscape garden that originates from China. There's smaller rocks that are raked, and that's meant to kind of symbolize an expanse of the ocean. And then we have 15 other larger rocks, which are meant to represent mountains. There's kind of a mysterious side of this garden, and that is from any one part or viewing space, you can only see 14 rocks at one time. But in reality, there are 15. That begs the question, was this intentional, or was this just happened to occur? So we're kind of on the other side of the rock garden now, and if we look over here, this wall actually slopes gradually down into the corner, and again the intersecting wall, the point of intersection, it slopes down, and it's a really unique drainage system. And the wall itself is actually an earthen wall, but it's also made with daily cooking oil. And that actually helps to absorb the light that reflection of light, off the rocks from the sun. And so from people viewing off of the veranda here, it would be kind of less blinding, I guess you'd say. However, the rocks themselves, they came from a river called Shirakawa, and they do tend to reflect or have a high level of reflection, because at nighttime, obviously since back then they didn't have electricity, so as a natural source of light, the moonlight, for example, would reflect off the rocks and into the abbot's chamber. Just a nice kind of natural source of light. So I'm standing directly in front of the abbot's chambers, and apparently from this vantage point, you can see all 15 rocks at the same time. And in East Asia, the number 15 has a significance. Apparently it represented a full moon. And so one of the ideas was that the lack of one rock, which would leave it at 14, represents kind of imperfection, whereas the 15 rocks represents perfection. And that would go and kind of tie into the idea of what this Zen garden possibly might mean. So the inside of the abbot's chambers, these are Showa period picture fusuma. The originals were actually lost during the kind of Meiji crackdown on Zen Buddhism. However, they had recently they found a few of the original screens, and they had kind of a little exhibition here. So in this building, immediately to the left of the Abbot's Hall, this is called the Butsuden, and so we've got a number of principal Buddhist images inside. It actually burnt down in the fire of 1797, in which a lot of the buildings actually in Ryoanji itself had burnt down. Actually, the Abbot's quarters had burnt down as well. The Abbot's quarters was actually rebuilt, and they brought the hall of another temple called Nishi-gen, and so that was rebuilt. And this one actually wasn't rebuilt until 1981 for lack of funds. I'm standing right next to what they call a Tsukubai, so it's a deep wash basin, and a lot of these were kind of put outside tea rooms, and so people would, and it's actually it's intentionally built low down to the ground so that people have to bend. And in the bending motion, it forces you to be reverent, despite your status. And if you look closely at the surrounding of the Tsukubai, there are a number of Chinese characters. And on their own, they don't really have much of a meaning. But in the center, there's another Chinese kanji, or character, which is in the shape of a box, or square. And that actually means mouth. And when you put those together with each kanji, it forms kind of a phrase that basically means what one has is all one needs. And so that kind of ties into some basic Zen precepts as well. And this Tsukubai was apparently donated by the Shogun Tokugawa Mitsukuni. When you come to Kyoto, another great place to enjoy is Ryoanji. They've got a beautiful rock garden that you can enjoy for probably about 30 minutes and possibly have a Zen moment. But also, we have a beautiful stroll-type garden here. You can already see, we're at the beginning of April, and you can see some of the cherry blossoms out. But in probably about a month or two, this garden will be in full bloom. And it'll be an amazing place to come and check out. So it's only a 20-25 minute walk from Kinkakuji in the northwest part of Kyoto. So definitely, if you get a chance, please come on in.